duty to engage in missionary labor. There was then no society in this country to which he could look for support, and the persons to whom he communicated his impressions gave him but little encouragement. He therefore wrote to the directors of the London Missionary Society, stating his feelings on the subject of missions, and asking for advice and information. His letter elicited an encouraging reply, and he was invited to visit England and receive personally the information desired. About this time, several of his fellow students also had their attention called to the subject of missions, and some of them resolved to embark in the enterprise as soon as a way could be provided. They were all Congregationalists, and were desirous that their Christian brethren should know their feelings and impressions of duty. Accordingly, when the Massachusetts Association of Ministers of that denomination met at Bradford in June, 1810, the following document, prepared by Mr. Judson and signed by himself, Samuel Nott, Samuel J. Mills, and Samuel Newell, was presented. The undersigned, members of the Divinity College, respectfully request the attention of their Reverend Fathers, convened in the General Association at Bradford, to the following statement and inquiries. They beg leave to state that their minds have been long impressed with the duty and importance of personally attempting a mission to the heathen, that the impressions on their minds have induced a serious and, they trust, a prayerful consideration of the subject in its various attitudes, particularly in relation to the probable success and the difficulties attending such an attempt, and that, after examining all the information which they can obtain, they consider themselves as devoted to this work for life, whenever God, in His providence, shall open the way. They now offer the following inquiries, on which they solicit the opinion and advice of this association: whether, with their present views and feelings, they ought to renounce the object of missions as visionary or impracticable; if not, whether they ought to direct their attention to the Eastern or the Western world; whether they may expect patronage and support from a missionary society in this country, or must commit themselves to the direction of a European society; and what preparatory measures they ought to take previous to actual engagement. The undersigned, feeling their youth and inexperience, look up to their fathers in the Church, and respectfully solicit their advice, direction, and prayers. This paper was referred to a special committee, who, after much deliberation and prayer, reported in substance that the object of missions is one of the utmost importance, that the command, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature," is sacred and binding, and that the peculiar and strong convictions by which the memorialists were influenced should probably be regarded as a divine intimation in respect to the duty of American Christians in the work of spreading the truth. It was voted that there be instituted by this General Association a Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions, for the purpose of devising ways and means, and adopting and prosecuting measures for promoting the spread of the gospel in heathen lands. Such was the origin of an organization which soon rallied to its support the concentrated forces of the Congregationalists and Presbyterians throughout the United States, and which had, in a few years, established its missions at Bombay, Ceylon, Siam, on the Mediterranean, in the Sandwich Islands, and among several tribes of Indians, and identified itself with many of the noblest triumphs of truth in modern times. Anxious to be engaged in the work for which their hearts yearned, Mr. Judson and his companions desired a prompt official assignment of their stations, but no plan of operation being matured, and no funds raised, the board advised them to continue their connection with the institution, and to wait patiently until Providence should open the way for their departure. The missionary spirit had then warmed but few hearts in America, and Mr. Judson feared that, if he depended for support on the churches at home, he might not be appointed for years. He therefore, by permission of the board, sailed for England in January, 1811, with instructions to ascertain whether the London Society would cooperate with the American board, and whether the former would render any aid, should the latter need it, in order to sustain a mission. The vessel in which he embarked was captured by a French